Hey, Chris Lipe here. This video is coming on the heels of several other by request videos. I've done several videos on this channel about screaming, singing aggressively, and a little while ago I did a video on the no-note scream, or the pitchless scream, for lack of a better way to articulate that, where there's no note in what I'm projecting, right? Now, I started with pitch, and I ended with, normal voice stuff, but there was that section up there where there was no defined note, right? And there have been some comments on, especially the screaming videos, where, well, man, you say that we should not have tension, but you look pretty intense. I mean, there's that vein popping out of your neck. What's going on with that? Can you explain that? Yes. I'm going to explain that here in this video, and I'm going to do a separate video about tension versus intensity. But it really does apply here as well. And especially, actually, it's because we're doing such aggressive things with our voice. We want intensity, and we want to use tissues that resonate in a certain way. In many cases, especially in this style of singing, we want to use them in ways that actually preserve our vocal cords, as opposed to exploiting them and being mean to them, right? So you've heard terms like false chord, fry, vocal fry. Those things, if I were to say, well, we get this this pitchless or no-note scream by engaging false chords or vocal fry, or by using the nasal pharynx, like, that doesn't really show you how it should feel. We want to know how it should feel. Well, here's how. First, it should feel very well supported, meaning I should be bearing down with my poop muscles, and I really do mean that, so hard that if I really had something to push out at the moment, I would have to use the muscles right down there in order to keep things from coming out. That's the energy center we want to focus on for this level of singing and screaming. I cover basic support and this extreme support in my free vocal course linked below. If this stuff, after this video, if you want to take this kind of thing further and develop the foundation for this kind of singing, be sure to join my free course linked below. Now, so it should start with this bearing down. Now notice, as I'm bearing down, I am really not changing anything up here. That's how it should feel also. There's nothing that is connected to my pressure that I'm exerting down here. In other words, I'm not doing this. Right? That's engaging here. It's engaging all, I'm simply flexing and I'm bearing down, yet I'm maintaining open up here. We're going to engage this stuff, but not as a result of engaging this stuff. That's the first how it should feel setup, right? If we do it all at once, we miss key things that help us dial it in properly. Next, we want to separate this ridiculous support from what we do with our vocal tract. And I say vocal tract because it's not just our vocal cords. Our vocal cords are only responsible for making the pitch. The rest of it is what's responsible for this really cool resonant sound that is not pitch. So we're going to do this. Nice head voice tone. Pure head voice. Good chord closure. Yeah. Now we're going to back off on the chord closure and make it more of a falsetto sound. Yeah. we're going to practice doing that with that pitch because it really does change the way we manage airflow. We're doing it quietly because, yes, we really can practice screaming quietly. But now let's not do the whole bearing down thing yet. Let's go back and forth here in this head voice thing. Yeah, yeah. When I go back and forth between those two, what am I noticing? Well, the first thing I'm really noticing is that I use tons more breath, more airflow when I am when my chord closure is not there, right? I've used all my breath. Yeah, I can hold that for a long time because by the very nature of what I'm doing, I'm holding back air because there's vibration that's holding back the air, right? Now, I can do this to a greater extent by adding resonance and by sort of squeezing the tone above my voice box even more. Yeah, right? Yeah. Now I can add compression. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this lower support in. I'm going to bear down like that. And then I'm going to gradually envision the energy coming up. Yeah. Now, as I'm doing that, my support, the amount I'm pushing downward is not changing. That's important. That's what it sounds like when and this is a great way to practice entering mixed voice as well. But we're talking specifically about pitchless stuff, which we're going to get to. I'm adding that compression, right? Where I've started here, but the key differentiator between just doing this and doing it all at once is that this support is not changing. This bearing down thing I'm talking about is not changing. This, believe me, I know it doesn't probably completely connect yet, but as you continue to work on this stuff, if this is always changing and reacting to what you need to do up here, that's when we start reacting and then we start engaging up here in ways that we shouldn't, and that's why tension comes in. If this is our constant and we're focused down there, that doesn't happen. Take it from me. Head voice. Now, in that compression, we want to be keenly aware of where our energy is coming from here. Where's our resonance coming from right now? Well, I feel it forward, and I've done other videos on that. I feel it as an invisible ball of energy in the front of my mouth. But I also want to be keen on where things feel like they're happening here. I don't want to focus there for long, but I do want to do a little bit of inventory and figure out where things feel like they're coming from. Now, I want to introduce a bit of noise above where I feel like that's happening. That's going to sound like this, and we're going to start quiet. It's very quiet. Now, in the same way, when we start adding in that compression, we want that same sensation that we had when we were quiet, where that stuff's happening above. Compression. Let's do it lower. So that's the first part of breakup. Now there's still pitch there. Let's go pitchless. What this requires us to do is take these things that we've talked about, downward focus support, compression that we can dynamically moderate without changing our downward support, and then an attentiveness to dynamic in our different primary resonances, chest and head, right? Okay, so the next thing we want to do is engage our vocal break. And I've done other videos on this on the channel. we're going to bring in this last component. Yeah, so. Now, with this in mind, I want to make sure that I'm still getting that same sensation here. I don't want it to drop lower. It should feel like that. Now, the reason it sounds different is because I'm pushing more air through. I'm getting greater resonance, and I'm actually flapping tissues together up top here in a way that is a direct result of the more airflow and the intensity I'm imposing on my throat, not tension. It's intensity. It's not competing with the sound, it's adding to the sound. Again, more on that in another video, but that's an important distinction to make. Tension competes with the sound you're trying to make. Intensity adds to it. Okay, here we go. More noise. Okay, we'll do more. Now there, I'm able to raise the perceived pitch of the pitchless scream up and down by raising and lowering my larynx. Now this is key. I'm actually not raising or lowering the pitch in the same way that I would raise or lower the pitch of the note, right? We don't want to raise or lower our larynx to get higher notes. That's a huge point of tension for a lot of singers. They start squeezing when they want to go high. That's not what we're doing. Instead, it's the same sort of thing that we do when we adjust the tone of a single note. It's a function of our soft palate and the back of our tongue. I explain this in way more detail in my course, but as you learn to do this in the context of the pitchless scream, engaging the break and all these components that I've talked about, you're able to get to using things that we use for fundamental singing with the pitchless or no-note scream. So that's how it should feel. Now, you've also heard in some cases how it should sound. I encourage you to check out all my other videos on YouTube that deal with mixed voice and aggressive singing, because it's going to give you more examples to help you dial in this. But having watched this video, go visit some of those with this feel mentality zeroed in and on your mind. We'll see you for more.